Hey y'all. So, for my credit story, I'm going to tell y'all about a family member of mine who is probably the worst with credit that I know of anybody. Um, so, I had a family member, her daughter, well, two daughters, were all living together. One was a minor, one was grown. And they were kind of in a paycheck to paycheck situation. They basically had a list of what bills they had to pay, and they would just check them off a list. They didn't plan for them or anything. Um, so eventually they got tight on money. I think their car broke down, and they tried to get it worked on, tried to get it fixed. It left them tight on money, so they started with payday loans. And then from there, it just kind of spiraled out of control because, like we learned in this lesson, payday loans, they charge a considerable amount to live paycheck to paycheck, basically. And so that spiraled out of control. We had a car that we wasn't necessarily using all the time, so we let them borrow that. That let them fall into habits that they weren't managing their money even more because they didn't feel like they had to save to fix the car that they had. And then eventually they were having trouble paying their rent, and we offered them to move in with us for a year, rent free, help with groceries. Again, continue to mismanage their money. The arrangement was for about a year. Fast forward a year, we sit down and have a conversation to find out how much they save to be able to try and get a place that they can own rather than rent. And how much, like, did they get their payday loans paid off? How much have y'all saved up? This is a whole year to pay off bills, right? So we sit down at a year, and she informs me that they have nothing saved. So they just completely mismanaged their money and saw it as, an opportunity to spend money however they wanted to, not having bills. They also did not have all of their payday loans paid off. We gave them a chance. We're like, look, you got to get this under control. This is not okay. Sat down, tried to come up with a plan for them, and they continued to. We ended up in a situation where I told them they had to help with the electric bill, being since it was so long over. So it's literally the only bill they had other than taking care of their, eating food stuff. From there, fast forward 3 years, they still have no savings. And we drew a line and we told them they had to move out. They had to find a place to live. And they were trying to get into a place that they could own still. Come to find out, they still hadn't paid off all their loans after 3 years. And ultimately, my ex-husband and I, we ended up loaning them the money to pay that stuff off and get a down payment for a mobile home and a small piece of land to get them out. And after that, eventually at some point, they came asking if we can help them with some bills, and they had like 14 loans. And at that point, we were like, sorry, can't help anymore. I mean, you can only help people so much. But that just goes to show how badly it can spiral out of control, especially with payday loans. I've never touched a payday loan in my life because of what I've seen them go through, and I don't plan on ever doing it. So that's my bad credit story.